Finally, Anthony Quinn speaks out about Charles Bronson. On April 21st, 1915, Anthony Quinn was born in Chihuahua, Mexico as Manuel Antonio Rodolfo Quinn Oaxaca. In and of itself, Anthony Quinn's life story served as an example of tenacity and creativity. Quinn, the son of a Mexican mother and an Irish-American father, had a difficult upbringing. His early years were influenced by poverty when his family relocated to Los Angeles. Quinn supported his family by working a variety of manual jobs, such as construction and boxing, experiences that later gave the characters he played on screen grit and authenticity. Quinn's passion for art and architecture marked a turning point in his life. Frank Lloyd Wright, the renowned architect who taught him, saw his expressive potential and unique presence and encouraged him to pursue acting. This direction led Quinn down a path that would eventually make him one of Hollywood's most enduring celebrities. Due to the restrictions imposed by Hollywood at the time, Quinn started his acting career in the 1930s and was frequently cast in small or stereotypical ethnic roles. He was determined to go beyond typecasting, so he continued to refine his craft in spite of these challenges. When his performances showed a depth and emotional complexity that could no longer be disregarded, he made his breakthrough in the early 1950s. His portrayal of Euphemio Zapata, the erratic brother of revolutionary Emiliano Zapata, in Viva Zapata 1952, marked his most notable early success. Quinn became the first Mexican-born actor to win an Oscar for the role, which earned him his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Following this accomplishment, he won a second Oscar for Lust for Life in 1956. Where he played painter Paul Gauguin in a compelling and poignant performance. His reputation as a serious actor with exceptional range and emotional impact was solidified by these honors. With his iconic portrayal of Alexis Zorba in Zorba the Greek 1964, Anthony Quinn's career achieved legendary status. Exuberant, philosophical, passionate, and fiercely alive, Quinn became synonymous with the role. His performance brought him to the attention of a new generation of viewers around the world and earned him a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Actor. Zorba was more than just a fictional character. He came to represent happiness, tenacity, and the unbreakable human spirit. Characteristics that mirrored Quinn's personal philosophy. Quinn worked in a variety of genres and languages, appearing in over 150 films during his career. He played religious and historical characters like Ada Abui in Lawrence of Arabia 1962, Barabbas in Barabbas 1961, and Jesus Christ in El Strada, one of his most well-known roles. Quinn gave characters who might have otherwise been reduced to cliches dignity and nuance in each performance. His portrayal struck a deep chord with viewers from all walks of life because of his ability to balance vulnerability and strength. Anthony Quinn was a talented writer, painter, and sculptor in addition to an actor. His profound appreciation of form, beauty, and cultural expression was demonstrated by the galleries that displayed his artwork all over the world. Quinn approached art with the same fervor and fearlessness that characterized his acting career because he felt that creativity was not restricted to a single medium. His writings, which included memoirs, provided insight into a man who was always considering his identity, purpose, and what success meant. Like the larger-than-life characters he played on screen, Anthony Quinn's personal life was vast, complex, and intense. Over the course of several decades, his marriages and relationships demonstrated both his unwavering commitment to his family and his incapacity to control his restless, impetuous nature. In 1937, Anthony Quinn wed actress Catherine Deal, solidifying his place in the inner ring of Hollywood elite. One of the most influential people in the movie business at the time, renowned producer and director Seal B. Deal, was the adoptive father of Catherine. The marriage represented both emotional stability and career opportunity for the young Quinn, who had endured years of rejection and bit parts after immigrating from Mexico and growing up in poverty. Quinn was able to expand his early career by gaining access to powerful networks through the Dale family. But instead of depending only on family ties, he was always determined to succeed on his own merits. For many years, Anthony and Catherine kept up the appearance of a stable Hollywood family while they were married and had 5 children. As Quinn's career progressively progressed from supporting parts to significant dramatic performances, Catherine was steadfast in her commitment to providing a secure home and helping him. However, Quinn's intense temperament, personal demons, and voracious appetite for life started to put a strain on the marriage. His reputation for infidelity grew along with his fame. Later in life, he freely admitted that he was frequently unfaithful due to impulse, ego, and a need for continual emotional and physical stimulation. The foundation of trust between him and Catherine was undermined by these repeated betrayals, which caused great pain. A lengthy and complex chapter of his life came to an end in 1965 when he and his spouse finally got divorced after almost 30 years of marriage, which had been characterized by both mutual success and mounting resentment. Anthony Quinn married Yolanda Adalori, an Italian costume designer who was much younger than him, in 1966. a year after his first divorce. At first, Quinn felt a renewed sense of passion and emotional reinvention as a result of Yolanda's artistic temperament and European sensibility. They had 3 kids together, and Quinn seemed dedicated to starting a new family while juggling his job in Europe and Hollywood. While Quinn continued to act, paint, write, and travel widely, Yolanda was very involved in his everyday life and career, frequently handling household matters. Even though things seemed stable at home, Quinn's infidelity had a significant impact on this marriage as well. He maintained a long-term relationship with Friedel Dunbar during his marriage to Yolanda, and the two of them had 2 children together. This relationship ran concurrently with his marriage and eventually came to light, leading to both legal issues and emotional distress. Beyond this protracted liaison, Quinn was also widely suspected, and in some cases publicly admitted, of having dated some of the most famous actresses from Hollywood's golden age, such as Carole Lombard, Rita Worth, Ingrid Bergman, and Maureen O'Hara. His reputation as a charming but seriously flawed romantic figure, praised for his passion but chastised for the suffering he left behind, was shaped by these relationships, whether they were short-lived or long-term. After over 30 years together, Anthony Quinn and Yolanda Adalori's marriage had completely collapsed by the 1990s. Quinn's affair with his secretary, Catherine Benvin, which again produced 2 children, was the last straw. His marriage to Yolanda ended in 1997 as a result of the emotional strain, years of adultery, and public humiliation. The accumulated harm of years of unresolved conflict was reflected in the acrimonious and widely reported divorce. After his second marriage ended, Anthony Quinn wed Catherine Benvin, completing a union that had already significantly changed his personal life. Quinn continued to be actively involved in family life despite his advanced age at the time, embracing fatherhood once more and taking pride in his kids. This last marriage was a symbol of contradiction as well as continuity. It highlighted the behavioral patterns that had characterized his romantic life for decades, while also reflecting his enduring need for family and companionship. Anthony Quinn was questioned about many of his renowned peers for decades, but when it came to Charles Bronson, he was noticeably quiet. The 2 men, who were tough, physical actors who portrayed raw masculinity and an unmistakable sense of danger on screen, were frequently mentioned together. It wasn't until much later in life that Quinn made the decision to talk openly about Bronson, sharing thoughts that were neither sensational nor contemptuous, but rather profoundly indicative of his admiration for the man who wore the intimidating mask. Quinn admitted that people frequently misinterpreted Bronson's on-screen persona. Quinn remarked, people saw Charles as this unbreakable wall of stone. However, he only wore that armor for the world. A man who had clawed his way up from nothing was beneath it. Quinn, who experienced poverty and adversity himself, saw a similarity in Bronson. Both men had experienced hunger, hardship, and the never-ending need to live. Quinn thought that Bronson's intense on-screen presence was influenced by their shared background. Quinn rejected the idea that Bronson was constrained or one-dimensional after considering his acting style. Quinn clarified that Charles didn't waste words. Every action and every silence had a purpose. It requires self-control. Intelligence is required for that. Quinn admired Bronson's ability to command a scene without using theatrical gestures or sweeping speeches, instead relying on a subdued intensity that audiences could not ignore. Quinn also talked about Bronson's image in Hollywood as a tough, sometimes distant person. Quinn acknowledged that he was cautious, and rightfully so. You don't trust people easily when you're from where we are. Quinn attributed Bronson's toughness to self-preservation rather than ego. He carried into his career the lesson he had learned early on: vulnerability can be exploited. Quinn pointed out significant distinctions between them despite their similarities. Quinn remarked, Charles was more solitary than I was. I thrived on noise, people, and chaos. Charles liked to be far away. He required quiet. Quinn, however, never saw this as conceit. Rather, he perceived it as Bronson's strategy for preserving authority in a field that frequently attempted to mold actors into safer, more commercially viable models. Quinn's recognition of Bronson's legacy was perhaps the most notable. He reflected that Charles became a symbol of the working man who will not be broken, not just of violence or retaliation. Quinn thought that Bronson's authenticity helped audiences all over the world relate to him. Someone who appeared to have actually experienced the struggles his characters faced. By speaking up, Quinn made it apparent that his remarks were intended to humanize Bronson rather than to mythologize him. Quinn said he wasn't perfect. He was honest in his strength, which is uncommon, but none of us were. Anthony Quinn gave a final respectful homage with those words, one that was built on mutual understanding, shared experience, and a profound respect for a fellow survivor who made a lasting impression on film rather than on rumors or rivalry. After decades of soaring performances and restless creative energy, Anthony Quinn sought solace in the serene beauty of Bristol, Rhode Island. In the quiet twilight of his life, away from the spotlight of Hollywood, He spent his last year there, away from spotlights and sound stages, surrounded by the basic joys he loved most: solitude, introspection, and the expansive view of Narragansett Bay that seemed to go on forever. Quinn died at the age of 86 in Boston on June 3, 2001, from respiratory failure resulting from side effects from radiation therapy for lung cancer. He left behind an artistic legacy that few actors have ever equaled, and his death signaled the end of an extraordinary life that had crossed continents, cultures, and generations of cinema. Admirers worldwide, who had grown to know him as a larger-than-life presence, fierce, passionate, and profoundly human, both on and off screen, were devastated by the news. The First Baptist Church in America, which is tucked away on College Hill in Providence, Rhode Island, hosted Quinn's funeral, a place of quiet dignity and history. It was an appropriate location to pay tribute to a man whose life story, marked by adversity, success, and an unwavering love of art, felt almost mythic. Family, friends, and admirers of his work came together to honor him, thinking back on a career that had pushed the limits of what a leading man could be and brought iconic characters to life. In a heartfelt and intimate farewell, Quinn's wife asked the town of Bristol for permission to bury him in his backyard, the spot he loved the most, rather than a conventional cemetery. Attracted by the property's tranquility and stunning bay view, the couple bought it in 1995. Quinn had discovered a sense of contentment and belonging there, close to an ancient maple tree that had long guarded the property. The request was approved by the authorities, respecting the actor's strong ties to the location as well as the wishes of the family.